Hey, love. Welcome to No Matcha, No Mama, the podcast where we pour a little matcha and a whole lot of truth. Every week, I sit with someone I admire, founders, healers, creatives, and friends, and we share a matcha I've crafted just for them. Everything here is intentional. The ingredients in your cup, the energy that we bring, the stories that we open. But this is more than just a podcast. It's a space for feeling seen, understood, and reminded that whatever you are walking through, you are not walking through it alone. At its heart, this show is about exploring how we can truly thrive through all the mess and magic of being human. There's also a space to explore the evolving world of longevity and aging well, from new discoveries and treatments to practices that actually make a difference in our lives so that we can keep showing up for ourselves, our families, our communities, while remembering that we are all figuring it out as we go. And here we start with matcha, because how we start matters. All right. Hi.
Hi.
Today, I'm sitting with Tommy Sobel, an incredible healer and the creator of Superconscious Healing, a modality focused on releasing deep-rooted blocks and limiting beliefs at their source so people can focus on accessing more peace, clarity, and alignment. And I was introduced to him by a practitioner and friend, and we started working together, and it's truly profound and incredible. So I'm really, really grateful to have met you, and I'm so excited to have this conversation and dive in so we can share it with other people.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I feel like I feel like I already know you so well. I can't believe we haven't met in person until this exact moment.
It's so cool. So I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you for making the trek.
And I love how your podcast is just growing. It's so cool to see.
Thank you. So I usually make matchas, but it's more about the intention. Matcha is my ritual to start the day. I made you green mint tea.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I drink it?
Yes, of course.
Cheers.
Cheers. I was wondering, is there a ritual that you do every morning to kind of ground you and to start your day?
There is.
What is it?
I think, I've had so many different rituals and played around with like 2-hour-long morning routines and then tried just doing absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. And I think that, what I'm doing now, I really, really love. And it starts with I have actually a whole supplement thing that is a part of the day too that might not be relevant. But the most important part is first waking up, sitting up in bed, and I just do like a 5-minute meditation, even if I'm half asleep. And that's me going up into what I call the superconscious, but really just God, source.
So you take yourself up there?
Yeah, every day.
How do you take yourself up there? Is it like the same way that you do with others? Okay.
Yeah, so it's the same thing that you've experienced where I basically just imagine, I take a couple deep breaths, I imagine connecting to my heart, take a moment of just gratitude for life itself.
Okay.
And then I just imagine sending that energy down my body into the core of the earth, feeling that kind of grounding, loving energy.
Yeah.
And then I bring that up through my body again, through my energy centers, through the chakras, and then all the way up through the universe and everything beyond the universe up into this pearly white light, which just represents the energy of everything. Mm-hmm. And once I'm there, that's where I just feel this connection with the divine, with kind of just something bigger that I call the superconscious.
Right.
And once I'm there, I do that multiple times a day for different purposes, but like the morning ritual is just a really quick version of that.
Okay.
And
tuning into yourself.
Yeah, just like settling my mind, and I'll ask a question. I'll be like, God, what is my most important task today?
Okay.
Or what would be most exciting for me to focus on today? So it's a little bit of like getting guidance for my priority, like what would be most impactful or what would be most financially stabilizing for me today. So I kind of shift it depending on how I'm feeling, but I'm getting guidance just in a couple minutes. And then also what would be most exciting for me today. So like, what's the thing that's part of my mission?
Yeah.
And then what's the thing for me? And sometimes it's like really specific where it's like reach out to this one person. Other times I see like an image of me kind of just like sitting at my Zoom, like sitting at my laptop and like my heart's open and I'm like spreading light from my heart. So it's more of the intention. So it's kind of a long-winded way of saying I do this morning meditation, connecting to source.
Yeah.
And then from there, before checking my phone, before any inputs, I go and I take a 12-minute walk.
Okay.
And that while I live kind of in nature, it's really beautiful. My town, in Cornell, just outside of Malibu.
Oh, so it's farther.
Yeah. Yeah. In unincorporated Los Angeles called Cornell, which is very beautiful. And that 12-minute walk is, so if like the meditation is settling my mind or my, just like calm mindset, the walk does the same thing for my nervous system, where I then notice that I just have a lot more endurance during the day because I'm sitting a lot or I'm on Zoom, and I feel like those two things go really well hand in hand, where I'm like getting my mind right and then getting my nervous system right. And that's all I need. And then I have my morning coffee. I do have coffee. I should maybe
That's fine.
have my
Whatever
morning
works
coffee.
for you.
And then I just start going through the day.
Amazing. I think I want to, it's hard. It's really hard for me to get up and meditate because I'm usually woken up.
Right. By kids and dogs.
My kids. My dogs doesn't really wake me up that often anymore. But my kids, yes. Like my son came into the room shortly after Justin left for the gym at like 5:45. He came in at like 6 and I was like, okay, so we're just cuddling for a little bit, I guess. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes I'm up earlier, but I would have to like set an alarm probably for like 5:45 to like know that I'm going to get that in.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
For me personally.
So I'm about to be a dad. My phone I typically put on airplane mode when I do recordings, but I'm keeping it on just in case I get the text.
I totally get it.
Today we're like full term. So
37 weeks.
37 weeks. Yeah. So that's the thing that I'm actually most concerned about, because I just really need my sleep and need that morning routine to just be myself. So
I will say that at the beginning, you probably won't have it.
I'm planning on not having it and just
embrace the fact that you won't. And then if you will get back to something. Like I've kind of figured out a way to do, and it's not every day. Sometimes I don't get to them. At least I have the making of my matcha. So like in my mind, that's something. And I usually go to the gym after everyone's out of the house. But like, and sometimes I'll do red light at that point too. But it might not be first thing in the morning. You might have to like come back to it, which does make it harder, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you're used to like waking up first thing, getting it done and having your mind right.
Are you checking your phone and emails and stuff then too?
I try, no.
Okay, cool.
And like I'm bricked out of social media until 8 a.m.
Okay, cool.
So like when I first get up in the morning, sometimes I look at like a couple things, but like I'm not really checking my phone. I'll like respond to some text messages, even if I even have them. But I try not to really engage with my phone until 8 a.m., which is when I allow myself in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's going to be my biggest, I think, keystone habit, is making sure if I can't get to it straight away, I have to just really not check any inputs or devices, because I can feel if I try to meditate after that, it's just a lower level. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you've already allowed other things in. Yeah. So you could just stay off your phone until you get to that.
Yeah.
Unless there's something that you need to respond to.
Right.
Okay. So I would love to hear more about like your journey of how you arrived to like creating Superconscious Healing and like how that came about. And then I want you to talk about Superconscious Healing, because I'm sure everyone is probably wondering, what is that?
Thank you. So I came from the film industry. Before that, I was doing neuroscience research. Before that, I was a DJ.
Oh my gosh.
I have lived many different lives. I've done a bunch of different things. And my most recent iteration before this one was I was a digital habits coach. Okay. So I left the film industry, and I was like, it was actually thanks to an ayahuasca journey where I was like feeling unfulfilled. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do what's my next step of expression and career? And I got this download, this insight that I was supposed to break my phone addiction and then help others with it. So I was like, okay, this is my thing. I left the film industry, and then I was like running my own business for the first time without any guidance, just like no training wheels. And it went well. It was okay. I was able to establish this beautiful community and this practice around this company Brick that I called it. And
which I use.
Okay, great. But I was overwhelmed, not making much money.
Yeah.
I was succeeding at creating a community. Like we had like 6,000 people all around the world taking their Brick time and doing retreats. But like I couldn't live off of it. And so I was extremely stressed. And
it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah, it wasn't sustainable. And so I ended up hopping on a conversation with a coach, with like a spiritual coach. And he was a huge investment, and at that point I felt like I had tried everything, but I was like, you know what? I know what I'm doing on my own isn't working. And so I ended up hiring him. And through that experience of having somebody on my team rooting for me who had done all their own inner work, I just had massive breakthroughs where I went from, making like $2,000 a month to probably within 60 days having my first 20K month.
That's an insane jump.
Yeah. So like literally 10X in 30 to 60 days. I don't know exactly how much, but it was really quick. And it was because not only did I finally start valuing my work more because I was getting good results, but like undercharging and felt uncomfortable charging more because I was like, I don't know if it's worth it. So we're working on my own worthiness as a coach or a guide. Yeah. And then also limiting beliefs that I had underneath that of like, I'm not good enough or it needs to be perfect. And all these things which I've been working on. I was in clinical hypnotherapy every single week for 13 years. And
was it working?
Yeah. I mean, I had massive breakthroughs and had lots of benefits. And I'm similar to you where like my whole life I've been trying different modalities and seeking things. And so they all had benefit, but I found myself in this role where I still had these blocks. And I had been working on them a lot. So there was also this layer of frustration where it's like,
why isn't
what
this
the
working?
Fuck? Yeah. I'm like, why do I still struggle? Like, why am I still incomplete? Like I've tried everything. And like that is its whole other layer of judgment and frustration that, can compound, feeling almost like jaded. Yeah. And so, so working with this guy was a major unlock for me because I realized that even though I had tried all these different things that I hadn't released these like the root level. I hadn't done the root level of healing, which is deleting the limiting beliefs, the programs or the stories that were running in my unconscious. And I'd been solving things on like a higher, downstream, I guess I should say, and not at the root level. And so I learned how to, through him, practice of releasing limiting beliefs with the power of spirit through these different energy healing practices. And I was like, holy shit, I want to know how to do this. Like this is incredible. I also had my own spiritual awakening where I like realized I'd been atheist my whole life, like just believing in the scientific method. Okay. And I like found God basically. And I was like, oh my God, I've been like rejecting this energy, this unknowable, loving intelligence that I'd been denying for whatever reason. And when I let that in and I felt that, I was like, oh my God, this is what it's all about. This is like what I want to help other people discover, skeptics like me. And so like those were maybe the two major unlocks of like rediscovering spirituality or like God. And then the limiting beliefs that are really all that's in the way of us reaching our peak potential. So I went into the deep end and I was like, I want to know how to do this. I want to know how to release limiting beliefs. And I just kind of probably spent $150,000 over many years and working with him and taking what I'd learned through clinical hypnotherapy and different modalities.
So you made your own thing.
And I just made it my own. And so now it's Superconscious Healing is my version that basically combines theta healing, which is an energy healing modality, NLP, clinical hypnotherapy, human design, and like a bunch of different things together. Yeah. And so now what I do with people, I love it. It's amazing because it's, in my opinion, it's just the fastest way to release limiting beliefs at the deepest level, like things that people have had sometimes their whole life, or maybe even before. Yeah, maybe like even before. Lives. Yes, exactly.
Can you talk a little bit about what is it that you
like the process?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a session in person or on Zoom usually, or it can be on the phone as well, I basically guide the person into a meditative state. And we do a visualization that I kind of just explained that I do in the morning, but we basically go up into that pearly white light, that infinite intelligence. And then I connect with you energetically, intuitively, with permission. Everything happens with permission. And then that's where the intuitive part happens, where we basically get to the bottom of some negative emotion, some fear that I'm not good enough, or some anxiety, or a limiting belief that they know they have. Or maybe I know that I don't think it's going to work. And so we get to the bottom of that and we delete it and cancel it and remove it and replace it with new feelings and new beliefs that are more aligned with who you want to be and how you want to feel.
For the people who are like, how do you delete it? Like, can you try to explain
absolutely.
how you actually go in and delete? And by the way, I have worked with Tommy a couple of sessions and we're working on something specific right now, and it's definitely working. So like, I don't feel the limiting beliefs that we're working on, they are being eliminated. So like, I can say firsthand that it works. But for you skeptics out there who are like, what is he talking about? Can you address the like, how are you connecting to them, to your clients? And then like, how are you?
Sure. So I think the basic requirement of understanding is that we are all connected through consciousness. And we can access each other's consciousness through meditative states. So by going into a meditative state, we're basically going up into this field where we are all of our consciousnesses exist. And then with permission, connecting into your consciousness so I can actually feel, and this is something that everybody can do, by the way. I teach people how to do this as well. And then you can actually just feel what is going on in that person, feeling a negative emotion, feeling a limiting belief, or feeling some sort of darkness. And once you're there, then in your own mind, you can make commands or requests, because you're basically working with that superconscious. You're co-creating and you're facilitating this change through making a command.
Wow.
The superconscious works with us. And so what I do when I'm facilitating is, in my own mind, I'm saying something like, superconscious, it is commanded that this person release these feelings of anxiety or insecurity, or if I'm late, there's something bad will happen. And then I just witness, and this is another key component where you're basically witnessing or visualizing that feeling or that energy leaving their space in your mind's eye, and witnessing that going back up into the pearly white light. So that is literally all you have to do to actually do it. You're not really doing the healing. I mean, when we call ourselves healers, sometimes it can conflate kind of what's happening, but we're kind of really just commanding the healing happen with the client's permission by the superconscious. So that's kind of how the releasing happens. And then that's the second step. And then the final step is the replacing. So now instead, what feelings or beliefs would be best replacements for that? And then you're kind of witnessing those coming down from the pearly white light down into their space. And then checking how they feel. Like, how does that feel for you? And that's literally all you do.
And I just want to comment on this, because when I was in both sessions, there was like a moment, not just a moment, but there was like a little period of time where it was really intense, like a swirly feeling, remember?
Yeah.
Which you explained to me as like part of like the reprogramming.
Yeah.
And it happened both times, which is kind of nuts. But it's interesting because like, afterwards, I definitely feel like it's working. It's almost though like my brain and my subconscious is so used to operating in the way. So like what we worked on is I get really stressed around time, for those of you wondering. And it's making me operate at this like very anxious level of like needing to be on time or feeling like I'm going to get punished literally because of what's happened to me. And now everything around being late, like I'm not anxious, but part of me is still in this like weird, like I'm so used to feeling anxious that it's like almost automatic, but then I check myself and I'm like, but I'm fine. It's this really weird feeling. Yeah. It's like a push and pull.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what we're working on, I think, is really, really deep, which that swirling feeling that you're experiencing is common for when we are like realigning our perspective on reality itself. That doesn't always happen. And I think it's cool, honestly, that that's happened to you once, let alone both times, because that means we are really working on the inner monologue, the kind of wiring, the subconscious wiring. I would say that it's typically not going to feel that way every time. But it also, I think, validates like how willing to being vulnerable and deep you can go with that.
Yeah.
And that's really common where you're just like, oh, suddenly I'm not on autopilot reacting. And now I can respond. And there might still be this like reflex of responding another way, but you're also noticing at the same time, like, I don't need to be doing this. And so that's where like the choice happens, where I can choose to respond differently. Yeah.
Oh, so it becomes like a choice. Like you're able to respond instead of just react with this like,
yeah. And I think that the challenge for the facilitator or the work for the facilitator is in a healing session at some point to find what the person was getting by having that limiting belief. How was it benefiting them, or how was it an attempt to benefit them? Because all subconscious limiting beliefs we hold on to because we think they serve us in some way.
Exactly.
And so what we want to unlock is to giving that person, downloading for that person the benefit, what they got from it, like feeling safe, feeling like I won't be punished, feeling appreciated, feeling loved, feeling belonging, like anything like that, getting the benefit of it without needing to be on time first, without the limiting belief, without the consequence. And so sometimes if that's actually not done or not done fully, a person can feel a little bit confused and be like, wait, there was something I was getting by believing that, and I'm not sure if I want to fully let it go yet. And so that's when sometimes people hesitate on making the new choice, as opposed to being like, oh, wow, I absolutely realize that I am safe even if I'm late, or even if someone else is late, that, I can't be punished, like I'm an adult. And it's just suddenly embodiment wise, that's crystal clear. Other times if it's not, then there might still be something that you were getting by that's just holding on to it or creating that confusion.
Yeah, that's so interesting. That explains it too, because...
So maybe I need to do a better job finding what maybe you're getting if they're still there, or you're just commenting on the kind of feeling state shift.
I think I'm just commenting on the feeling state shift, like not knowing. Maybe I still am a little bit unsure of like how to respond, right? So maybe we just need to work on that next time. But I think I just wanted to share like an experience so people kind of understand like more about the process. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about limiting beliefs. Many people try to like think themselves out of them. Can you explain why that does not work?
Yeah. A lot of people that let's say like want to quit smoking. Like if all that's required to quit smoking was to just decide consciously, I'm going to quit, nobody would be a smoker.
Right.
Like that's deciding or thinking on a conscious cognitive level is not where habits are formed or where habits can be changed. It all happens in the unconscious or the subconscious. And so that's where the limiting beliefs are. So that's why often affirmations, repeating affirmations. It's a tool, and then it's a great tool. But that's why it takes a really long time to repeat over and over robotically, like, I love myself, or I can be gentle with myself, or I deserve love, whatever it is, to actually get that to shift on a belief level, because what's happening is you're just on the conscious cognitive level. Limiting beliefs they're like firmware. Like if you think of a computer operating system, it's like it is part of the operating system itself. And it's not like one of the apps you're using. It's the app that controls the entire computer of our mind. And so this is something that hypnotherapy discovered a long time ago, that when you really relax the body and really relax the mind and go into what's called a meditative state or an altered brain state, whether it's theta state or something deeper, that you can actually access the subconscious. And practitioners have been using that as an access point. So sometimes I think of it as like, it's like if you're trying to travel somewhere, you got to go to the airport terminal first. So like going into the meditative state is kind of like going to the terminal before you hop on the airplane to get to Europe. And so by going into a meditative state, that's when you can access the limbic system. That's where you can access where these programs are written, and then you can start to shift and remove them. And so for people that are doing lots of work, that are maybe they know they have limiting beliefs, or maybe they're doing affirmations, or maybe even they're doing hypnotherapy, or they've got sleep tapes. I had so many sleep tapes of just like repeating affirmations and who I wanted to be. Did you find that helpful or no? Yeah, I mean, it was helpful. Yeah. And I had a successful career in the film industry, thanks to my mentor at the time, who like every single week would help me with some really big challenge as a young kid trying to navigate like this complex industry. And I got as far as I think I could, thanks to him and thanks to those practices. But I still had these limiting beliefs because we were not specifically removing them and replacing them. I think that there's a very direct path that I just had not seen approached. Like that is the root level of healing. If you are not healing limiting beliefs, then you might have if you're not healing limiting beliefs, then everything you're doing could be temporary, because you're kind of working against how your body is wired. You're working against the wiring. I guess it depends on the person, but where do you most commonly see like limiting beliefs originating? Like, do you normally see them from past lives, or do you think that a lot of them come from this lifetime, something childhood related or a trauma? Yeah, good question. I think most of the time to start when people do inner work, it's from traumas or limiting beliefs from this lifetime. And there's three main places where limiting beliefs can come from. It's from this life. It's from the genetically, so like in your DNA, so your ancestors up to like 7 generations in the past. You can have limiting beliefs from your parents or grandparents, and then also from a past life. And so all three of those can be true. Typically, in my experience, for a lot of the work, for the first main section of work, it's all traumas from this life. It's all limiting beliefs in this lifetime. So typically for me, when I'm working with someone and I see that the belief started on an ancestral level or a limiting belief level, that actually clues me in to be like, okay, this person's actually done a ton of inner work already. They've already healed a lot of limiting beliefs through other practices, and they're a little bit more advanced, where we're getting into the stuff that is really difficult to address or explore in other modalities. And so that makes it fun too. I know we had one of those. Yeah, it was interesting because I thought that the limiting belief came from my childhood when my dad was like, you can't be late. And if you're late, basically like you won't be respected. Like that was the thought process. And then the second time, I realized that, or the way that you walked me through it, I saw that it was from a different lifetime, which was fascinating to me because I didn't even realize that could be something, or
the origination of it, right? Because we're not thinking about that. And how would we know?
Yeah.
I was just told something as a little kid. So I was like, oh, that was it. Mm-hmm. But clearly it was something more, which is why it might be a little bit more tricky to
It is. I mean, a lot of
get
people
rid of.
don't even believe in past lives. So
Right.
there can be a challenge there just conceptually to be like, wait, what? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand. And so sometimes it's like, okay, whether this is true or not, whether this is actually real, let's just explore it. And so that can then, maybe it's real, maybe it's not. It's either way it works. So.
And it's interesting that you say that, because when we were walking through it, I was like seeing a vision, and I knew that it wasn't something that was familiar to me. So I'm like, what is this? And why am I seeing it right now? Yeah. So like there's this thought that pops into your head that's like, it's a past life. What?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
So it's just fascinating.
So fascinating. Yeah. And I that sometimes I think can like open people up in a way too, where they're like, wait, maybe some of this spiritual stuff is just objectively true. Maybe these things that I've heard of, like now I'm having my own visceral experience of like, and that can make people consider those possibilities in ways that maybe they weren't interested or thought it was just in the movies or whatever. And so that part's cool for me too, where I'm kind of like helping other people. You already were super into it, but like some people are like very corporate or like very, it's very new to them. So that can be, whoa, they go from 0 to 1 and they're like, okay, like,
what was
if
that?
This is true, if this is real, like what else might be real?
Yeah. It's just fascinating. I wanted to ask another personal question before we wrap. If there was one thing you could go back and tell your younger self, what would it be?
I think that for most of my life, I thought that I was going to end up alone. And I had certain traumas that affirmed that. Like I was I think I was born feeling that, because that was from a past life, I found out later. But
interesting.
But my whole life I had a lot of like traumas or wounds related to women or sex or like even my penis and I think, what I'm thinking when you ask that question is maybe one of the first traumas that I experienced associated with this complex of aloneness, where I had a hernia surgery when I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's pretty common actually, but
really?
You get like a lot of kids, my brother ended up having it. And so like, sometimes it just heals on its own, but I needed this surgery when I was 8. And so I'm in like 3rd grade and I don't really know what happened. And I've got this kind of teddy bear patch over the scar. And my friends are like, why were you out of school? And what happened? And one random kid, Peter McCarthy, was like, did you lose a testicle? And I was like, yes, I think I lost a testicle. And I didn't, but I just didn't really know what was going on.
Because other kids aren't going to understand it either.
Yeah, they're like, what's a hernia? Do you lose a testicle? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And so I bring that up, and it is really funny. But for most of my life, I ended up actually being called the uniballer. Yeah.
That's really funny.
And there was this like rumor, this lie that I had lost a testicle. And for that reason, girls didn't want to date me. I kind of got made fun of. When I was in 7th grade for Valentine's Day, somebody gave me a bunch of like uniballer pens instead of like, candy. And so like I was kind of bullied and had, I remember crying that day. Like it was so tough for me at that time and made me feel like I was going to be alone. And so,
wow.
I think what I would tell him, that 3rd grader, that 8-year-old who had that surgery is maybe tell him something like, this experience is temporary, like this needs to happen. It's almost like I don't want to tell him that it's going to be okay. it's almost like this is part of your divine timing. Like this is something that's going to help you learn something really important for later.
That's beautiful.
So that, so that he can maybe just have a bit more, I don't know, an underlying peace within the challenge of the seeking and the not having and the kind of disconnection that he felt from people.
Yeah, and knowing that he's supposed to go through something
like this
and feeling confident in that and knowing that.
Yeah, like this is just a rite of passage and this is going to all come full circle because it has. I mean, it is funny now and I can laugh about it. But at the time it was like,
how did you overcome that specific trauma, would you say?
Well, it's interesting because that, I think, then parlayed into another trauma in college where for the first time people didn't know about the Uniballer story. So I was like, oh my God, this is for the first time where I have like a blank slate and I can just like recreate my own reputation. And then I ended up getting psoriasis on my penis. And so then I kind of experienced like the same thing all over again. And so it was almost like those two, that was like the 1-2 punch that finally brought me into clinical hypnotherapy where we finally addressed the emotions that I had been bottlenecking, that I'd not been feeling. And I just did lots of inner healing on the trauma. And that's where that clinical hypnotherapist ended up really showing me the power of the subconscious mind and where I was.
Which led you to where you are now.
Yeah, and brought me exactly to where I am now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I'm going to end with a prayer.
Great.
May we carry what we need, release what we don't, and stay open to the magic that is still unfolding. Thank you for sipping your tea and sharing your heart with me today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you. Thanks for listening to No Matcha, No Mama. If you love the episode, share with a friend, leave a review, or come say hi. My Instagram is at Dina De Laurentiis, and my TikTok is at No Matcha, No Mama. If you want to connect with my incredible guest, Tommy, you can find him on Instagram at Tommy Sobel, and I will link his website below if you're interested in working with him one-on-one. Please don't forget to subscribe to my Spotify and my YouTube. I would so appreciate it. And remember, thriving takes intention. See you next time.